All right, welcome back, everybody. Tonight to Let's Talk About Lego. Tonight we're going to be talking about pirates, and it's a super exciting topic of mine. Brick Monarch and I are going to be covering that tonight, so I'm really happy for you guys joining in to view what we're going to be talking about tonight. Let me see if I can get Brick Monarch on here. Yep, he's about to join. Just give me 1 second. Hey, how you doing?
What's up, man?
Arr.
Right?
I had to say. It had to happen. One of us had to do it. I took the fall, man.
You did. You took the fall on that one.
All right, so Pirates. I was, welcome. I already kind of did a funky intro, so we're in. I was looking at the pirate stuff, and man, there's a lot of lore there, a lot to bite off. I think we bit off a pretty big chunk there. So
that's why I kept it to a minimum of like just the 2 years.
Yeah. So tonight we're talking. Yeah. No, I'm. That was a good call because I was looking at it. I was like, man. So we're covering 1989 and 1990. So the first 2 years of Pirate, and that's kind of the first intro. That's when they were launched in 1990. Now I have something really cool. This is the image that Lego introduced on their booklet that year.
Yes.
So you see the ship sailing in, and these are the three big themes that were current: the castle, space, and city. And they're all looking out over the pirates. So it's great piece of artwork there.
The Legoland Pirates have arrived.
Yep. Which is funny, yeah. In a lot of their branding, they called them the Legoland Pirates.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that. Interesting. Their first, they were far enough back where their box art had the Legoland banner along the back, along the side of it there.
Yeah.
That was cool. But yeah, man, Pirates, 1989, to 1990. And the sets were the Buried Treasure, pirate minifigures, and then they did release a pirate comic, which I think we'll circle back to. Because there's something fun about that one. The Castaway Raft, Forbidden Island, and the Black Seas Barracuda, which is probably the most famous pirate ship Lego has ever released.
Yeah, the Caribbean Clipper, the Black Seas Barracuda, and Forbidden Island and the El Dorado Fortress were the first four. That was in '89, and then the rest of the small sets came in 1990. They were like add-ons.
Okay, yeah. Because Harbor, I don't actually have the dates for the Imperial Soldiers, but I have the dates for the pirate ones. And it looks like the Pirates had Shipwreck Island that got released. That little funny one with the little.
That is a funny one, man. But you know, like when I was a kid, like my weekly allowance could buy that.
Yeah.
For that Shipwreck Island, it was
totally.
It was like $9.99.
Yeah, it's probably cheaper than that, man. It's probably $6.99.
That one, the Castaways Raft, Saber Island, and the Harbor Sentry. They were all just like you could pick all those up at Walmart, no problem.
Yeah, totally. Hey, welcome guys. Thanks for joining. Barry Lee Cullis made it. I think it's like 3 a.m. for him, so I give him kudos for popping in. Or it might be 1 a.m. I don't know. I remember seeing that image so well and get excited as a kid. Yeah, dude, tell him your story you told me earlier, like about the Barracuda.
Yeah, obviously I've been a Castle fanatic since like day one. My first Lego sets were all Castle stuff from like the late '80s.
Yeah.
And then the pirate, I saw the booklet. The booklet came in, because the booklet used to come in sets, right? So I saw the booklet and I was like, Dad, look at this pirate right here.
Yeah.
So at the time, I had to have him take me to the Toys R Us. I was like, we got to go to Toys R Us and see the ship.
Yeah.
So and they actually had it built on display behind like glass. At Toys R Us.
That's so cool.
So I was absolutely obsessed with it, and I got it that year for Christmas.
Yeah.
And when I was like, I think I was like maybe 10, 11, 12.
Perfect. That's like the perfect, yeah. So that's perfect age to get that ship. I mean, yeah, so you got to live the ultimate Lego pirate experience as a kid, getting that
from
the tree for Christmas.
From day one, yeah.
The very first Lego pirate ship ever released.
Yeah, and it wasn't the wrapped under the tree thing. It was the unwrapped one when you got out there on Christmas morning. So like
nice.
As soon as I got into the living room on Christmas morning, dude, I was blown away.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, dude. I mean, I wouldn't have cared about anything else under the tree if I'd seen that.
Yeah, and see, I actually got my brother to ask for the Caribbean Clipper.
Nice.
So that I could
took it from it.
Yeah. So I could have both. I did that for many years.
Yeah. He got wise eventually, I hope.
Yeah, but they were all mine. Anyway,
ABC Builds, happy Monday or Tuesday. Yeah, it depends on where you're at this point.
Right.
ABC Builds, such cool memories. Yeah, no, totally. I mean, that's a great story to kick off Pirates. I mean, yeah, like I was saying, I was a little younger, and so I ended up getting my first Lego Pirates in the Redcoats wave, which is a little further on down the road, and we'll talk about those in another live stream. But yeah, so I didn't quite get the same experience as you did. But
no, because you were like 2. You were 2.
I mean, I mean, I feel like even at 2, I would have appreciated it, but it might be.
You were sucking on a num-num, and I was going on a high-speed adventure to the living room carpet from the bedroom. Okay.
Totally.
When I was a kid, 100%. We lived in one of those sprawling ranch-style houses that was super flat and long, right?
Yeah.
So an adventure from the bedroom to the living room in the Black Seas Barracuda was like hours.
That's an hour. Yeah, hours.
Right. And let's not forget the cannons that actually came in that. The actual ones with the springs in them.
Yeah, the ones you could shoot your brother in the eye with.
Yeah. Those. You could shoot those across the living room, man.
Hey, at least they brought them back. They did bring them back.
But there for a while, they didn't. They didn't have the spring action.
No, which was weird, and maybe someone else knows this better than me, because I don't actually know why they still had the I guess the trigger on the back, a different color than the actual barrel. They had a black little trigger, but it didn't work anymore. So I don't know if they just modified the ones they had in stock and made them not work. I don't know.
If I'm not mistaken, I think some of the cannons became like a one-piece deal.
They did eventually.
Yeah.
They did. But there's a weird phase where they don't shoot, but still have a separate color for the tail piece.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't do my research on that one, so I apologize. Redcoats rule. Yeah, I mean, some people would say not so much, but I like them as a Lego faction. We have some fun lore coming up on the Redcoats and the Bluecoats. I'm sure we'll get to talk about a little bit of that. Let's see, what do we got here? Why ABC Builds, why didn't they make a floating boat or a floating pirate ship? I don't know. I never liked, a little bit of a side thing. I don't care that much about like the gimmicks, so the flick fire missiles and little pip shooters on current Lego sets and floating ships. As a kid, even I was just like, man, it's gonna get wet in the tub or the pool. And so personally, I never cared about that. But I know that that's a huge gimmick for a lot of people. Like they're like, dude, it shoots, which the shooting cannons was a little different, but like the floating ships and all that, I don't know. I don't.
Yeah. I mean, I had some of the float. I had the first 3 floating boats.
Oh yeah, because didn't they do the city, like the 3 city boats?
Yeah, in the very beginning of City, they did the expansion of the trains and the boats. And I had the first train that was not motorized, and I had the 3 first floating boats. One was a coastal guard police boat and a fire boat.
My brother got the police boat.
And those are the ones that came with like the 2x2x6 weighted blocks.
Yeah, to keep them from like flipping over.
And like I had one of those like snap open on the end, and there's just like a little steel bar inside of it.
Yeah,
it's the craziest thing ever.
I think they used those as counterweights on a couple cranes in like an old port city set too. I can't remember for sure, but they did use them a couple times.
Those pieces, we've talked about this before, but those pieces would be great pieces to use for like a real working trebuchet.
Yeah, catapult trebuchet. That's actually a good call.
Stacked like with like 3 or 4 of those stacked up with like a pull pin.
Yep. I don't have that many. I have like maybe three or four.
I don't even have any. I don't have any.
And they're weird colors. I think there's a good black one, and then there's like a white and a red and a yellow one.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I'm going off on these weird pieces. Let's see. ABC Bricks. It was weird to me that they had shooting cannons, then non-firing, and then back to firing. Yeah. What I heard, and this is not confirmed, but I heard that they got sued by someone who literally shot his brother in the eye, and he got hurt. And so they stopped, and they had to put that's why you have all the warning labels all over all of the firing pieces now. But they didn't have those warning labels when they originally released the cannons. And so they had to wait a nice long time before they introduced firing pieces again. And then they had the big rubber-headed ones that shot the Technic pin with the rubber head.
Yeah, I mean, but you have to think about it. You have to think about it, too. Like, when that pirate ship came out in 89, like, 10-year-old and 11-year-old kids were getting BB guns for Christmas. Now, that's unheard of now. That's like, oh, my God.
That's true. That? That is a fair point. I mean, I think, yeah. Yeah, I mean, even in the 90s, we all got BB guns as kids.
Yeah.
For Christmas or birthdays, yeah. It's a different world, man. It was a totally different world.
I mean, when I was a kid, BB guns and cap guns, the cap gun smoke was all through the house.
Yeah, dude, the cap guns. Did you get the paper? Did you get the paper rolls or the little? Yeah,
real paper rolls.
Yeah, you could fan the pistol with it if you did it right. Pull the paper through it. Yeah, good times. All right, let's see. Barry Lee Cullis says, I was more into the Imperial Soldiers than I was the Pirates. I mean, the Imperial Soldiers are so cool. The whole aesthetic is fantastic. I like both.
They're cool. They had some weak ships though.
Oh yeah, I mean, not till way later did they have a bigger ship, like 2009.
But I will say the Imperial Trading Post was a pretty phenomenal set.
Unreal, dude. It's one of the best Lego sets.
The limited amount of pieces that were on that set was, I mean, it was like stupid low, but it was just looked and it felt so big. It felt like it was such a big thing.
And the exclusive parts, which again we're getting into our next episode, but like the exclusive parts on that are amazing too. I mean, the old sail with the barrels on it, and just the whole thing. It's an incredible set. One of the best, I would say, that Lego's ever done. Dude, the comments are coming in. We're not going to be able to keep up with them because we barely even talked about any of the actual pirate stuff. But King Tad 94, there are non-shooting cannons with cannon marks in some countries. So rare pieces in here. Yeah. Well, and I think eventually they changed the mold, like you said, to one piece, and they had a little cannon like cross molded on top of it.
They did, it was like part of the mold.
Was the touch? Is it called the touch? I don't remember what it's called on a cannon. It's the firing hole. I don't remember the correct.
I've never used a cannon, so I'm not real sure of that.
Yeah, I've never. That's fair. I've read about them, I think, and seen some movies, but yeah, I've never fired a cannon.
Well, see, if there was a little box pointing to a picture of it, I would have remembered.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. So you said, so you ended up with all of the first 2 years of pirate sets?
Yeah, I had the first 2 years. 100%.
Yeah, I think now I do as well. It took me a while to.
I had every one of them. I really enjoyed the Forbidden Island too. That was a really cool set.
It's unique.
Again, super minimal pieces, but it just looked like there was so much going on.
Yeah, that was like the era of Lego that they very minimal amount of parts on many of their sets that felt large, but they had the right pieces on it and they used them correctly. The painted base plate gave you that island with just one piece. You had a whole island that you could build on. And then all the stairs and walls and little prison pits and rigging you could climb. And they just
the stair piece was super cool. I want to say that little bridge may have been the first bridge like that released.
The rope bridge?
Yeah, the little brown rope bridge. I think that the Forbidden Island was the first one.
It may have. I would have to check the dates on.
I would have to check the dates too because I want to say I can't remember the Forestman's Crossing if it was 91 or if it was a 90 set.
Yeah, isn't Forestman Crossing a later Forestman set though? Or is it right there with the first wave?
No, it was in a mix with the the river fortress. So I want to say it was 90 or 91 that this came out. So I could be wrong, but I want to say that Forbidden Island was the first one that had the bridge.
Okay, yeah.
Because that was an 89 set.
Here's the thing: the rope bridge is definitely more of a pirate piece than a castle piece, and I feel like they integrate.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, it seems like they would have integrated it in as kind of a cool way to use that in a castle set.
Yeah. Now I will say this: when Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves came out,
that's true.
That bridge has been solidified to be used in the Forestman's Crossing.
Totally.
Okay.
It like validated the rope bridge situation.
It did. It validated it, right?
Well,
but
yeah,
you know,
but I mean that was also
from the get-go. I think it's a pirate piece. Like it's.
I should have looked it up. I think you're right. I threw in a bunch of other parts that came out with the pirate stuff, but I totally forgot about that one, and that one's an iconic piece across the board. It's coveted by everyone. Everyone's always wanted it as kids. I remember as a kid seeing that at a friend's house. I'm like, one day I need that rope bridge. Like it's one of the most iconic parts.
Yeah, I think I may have like maybe 2 or 3 of them.
I've hoarded up a few. I pulled a Bricklink Andrew situation, and I've got a little stack of those bridges now. But,
dude, I was just on Bricklink a few minutes ago, man.
Yeah.
I was like, I was loading up the sheep. I was loading up minifigs.
Yeah. You gotta get them, man.
There's this one brick store that's got them. He's got like 91 of those sheep.
Oh yeah. Just like a whole stack of them.
Nice. Dude, a whole stack of them.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to take it.
I'm ranting about Bricklink again.
Yeah, here we are. We're just totally off. I don't know, pirates. What are we talking about? I saw an interesting comment. King Ta 94. There are non-shooting cannons with cannon marks in the country. No, I already read that one. I think he said there was no. Someone else. Oh, here, Brick System 77 says in France we don't have non-firing cannons at all. Interesting. You know, that's funny because it is totally an American thing to sue the butt off a company and then we lose something.
Well, it's also an American thing to load a gun and shoot it at everybody too.
Yeah, so that totally makes
pretty
sense.
American.
Darn it. And that's why we can't have nice things. Oh, screwing it up. That's hilarious. Barry says the Clipper was the only set I never had in the 98 80s or 98 90 set. I wish I did. Yeah, it's a little harder to get a hold of now for sure. All of them are, but yeah. We got 90s Forestman. So
I would assume he's saying that the bridge came out in 90 on the Forestman set.
Oh, maybe so that confirms then that because I think Forbidden Island was 98 or 1989. Sorry, I'm totally off. Yeah, so it came out a year before, and then they used it on the castle piece. Cool.
Yeah,
got that cleared up. All right. The UK, all our cannons fire. No one sabotaged your cannons over there yet. Well, that's great. That's awesome. All right. So we kind of already covered it with your reaction to getting the pirate ship on Christmas, the year it came out, the year they released the whole wave. But like the new dynamic of play, which you did kind of talk about with the adventures across your living room floor, it totally changed the landscape of Lego. Like this was revolutionary when they launched the Pirates theme. And it became a staple of Lego and Lego's themes for the next 10 years and then off and on through the next 20 years. What do you have any like more to add to like how it really changed the dynamic of what Lego was doing at the time?
I mean, yeah, I think so. I mean, if we take a step back on memory lane here. I don't remember what year the movie Hook came out with Robin Williams.
Yeah, mid 90s, I believe.
Yeah. So that movie was a big movie for kids, right?
Yeah.
So then they could go in and they could see this movie that was like, it was kind of like Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, same thing, right?
Yeah.
If you saw that, you were like woodsman, castles, yes. When you saw Hook, you were like pirates, yes. You know what I'm saying? And the ship and the old scraggly pirates drinking the booze and
Right.
clacking around in their shoes with the peg leg or whatever.
Totally.
You know what I mean? So I do. I think it kind of expanded the imagination of kids into a whole nother time period.
Mm-hmm.
The same way the Castle did. I mean, Space did the same thing. Space was like futuristic. Castle was historical. Pirate was historical.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I like it. I totally agree. It adds a great building block for the Lego world, but also gives you a look into the like you said, history. It's a rose-colored glasses look at pirates and redcoats and colonization, but it is still a look into a very fascinating time in history, and you get to hold that in your hand. Can't beat it, man.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, no. I mean, and now, I mean, you can go to Legoland, Florida, and they've got a whole pirate wing in the hotel.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Hell, well, it wasn't. It's been a couple years. I mean, I've probably been to Legoland, Florida, probably 100 times.
Right. Didn't you live pretty close to it?
Yeah, I was only an hour and a half away from it.
Yeah, I was.
We went, and when we did go, they were still running the pirate water show.
Okay.
So, like, Captain Redbeard came out, and he was walking around acting goofy, and then there was some skiers out, like, doing jumps in the lake, and they were dressed like the stripey guys, little pirate stripey guys. And then the settlers would come in, and they'd have a musket battle, and like they'd do a sword fight, and the Barracuda was sitting there, like a life-size Barracuda, like where you could like walk onto. It was pretty cool.
That's so cool. That's amazing. Yeah, the fact that they did all that and didn't even have any sets like that represented that for them at the time, because there's like no pirates now, except for we have the 2 sets, but right, they didn't have a theme to back up that whole show. But since it was part of Legoland, still,
yeah. So like that whole show was completely irrelevant to my 8-year-old, right? But because I had all those.
Yeah. Hang on, we got a connection issue here. Give me a second.
Yeah, you're getting fuzzy on me.
Are we back? You're fuzzy on me now, but I'm clear. I don't know. I turned off one of my things here. We'll see if this works out. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Okay, we're good. Hopefully that clears the picture up a little bit there. Okay, the UK. Okay, we're caught up on the comments. Cool. Continuing on, new parts. So Lego reshaped the scope of, or Pirates reshaped the whole world of Lego. They did so also with the amount of new pieces that came out. I mean, just to rattle off a few.
Lots of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, what did I just threw them down. I think I didn't even look these up. These are just sails, the cloth sails, the ship hull, the monkey and the parrot, I think were first on those.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember if the gold coins came on the first pirate sets. Did they?
Did. Mm-hmm.
Nice. Okay, so it's the gold coins, because I wasn't sure if they were still using the little yellow pips from Castle.
No, they had the gold coins from the get-go.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. I think the cutlass, the flintlock pistols, and the cannons, all of those came on. And then the bridge,
the barrels.
The barrels.
Did
they not come on any castles till then? Huh.
There was a treasure chest.
Yeah, there was the treasure chest. I thought that. Yeah, you might be right. I'd have to look. Yeah, barrels. Well, barrels. And then the stair piece, that funky stair piece, was that from Pirates or was that Fabuland? I can't say for sure.
I'm not sure because that was not even a part of my life.
No, same. But like, I gotta try and find where these parts come from. So
the masts for the ships were
those
a great part.
Yeah.
I want to say the anchor too. The big ship anchor was.
Yep.
The palm tree.
Palm tree. Yeah, because then they used the funky palm tree stem for the Kings Mountain Fortress.
They did. So stupid. I don't even know what they were thinking with that.
I think they were trying to show that it was in a different part of the country. And so they had the funky tree with the branches on top, and they're like, this is a different foliage than the rest of the castle. They're in the country, up on the mountains. I'm like, okay, kind of weird choice still.
I didn't buy it.
I know.
I still don't buy it to this day.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Dude, there was a small pine tree on the front of Kings Mountain Fortress.
I'm
then
with
on the
you,
back,
man.
there's a palm tree with like the regular tree leaves.
Okay.
Don't even get me started. I'll start ranting about dumb shit that Lego's been doing.
Brick Monarch 2022 or 2020. I don't even know what year it is. 2021. I still don't buy it to this day. The palm tree and the castle set is uncool.
Yeah, ridiculous.
We got someone coming in. It looks like the 2x2x2 barrel was released in '88, so it might come on a castle in '88. So
and a castle set?
It says he said castle.
Well, which
this
one?
The guy I can never
which
pronounce.
One was it? Because I can't remember.
Yeah, if you could drop that in, the name of the set, that'd be awesome because we couldn't remember, and I wasn't sure. So either way, interesting fact about the firearms in the pirate sets. This is the first time Lego released what they called on the internet non-interpretive firearms. So basically ones that looked realistic. Up until that point, all of them were like laser cannons connected to ships or funky little tools that looked like, that could be used as blasters for space, but they didn't release any realistic, I guess you could say, looking firearms until Pirates. And then, of course, late 90s, you got all the Wild West with the revolvers and very realistic looking firearms coming out on those sets, which is a whole nother interesting topic of Lego jumping back and forth on their whole little no guns, little dance they love to do. And he says twin arm launcher, Black Monarch's castle, both of those.
He's right. He's right. I don't remember in Black Monarch's castle, but I remember it in the twin arm launcher.
Okay. Yeah. I don't have a lot of experience with Black Monarch's castle, to be honest. I have it, parts of it, and I have the box, but I don't know that I've actually physically ever built it for myself.
I will say this, though. The way that the barrels were used, the castle sets, were used as like storage barrels.
Yeah.
The way they were used in the Pirate was also storage barrels, but they also used it on rafts.
Rafts and rum.
Yeah.
They put those little nozzles on them, I think, didn't they, in some of the Pirates? Maybe not. I love that. That's like my favorite technique. Pop the little nozzle on top.
Now that you say that, I want to say there was one in the Knights Challenge where there was like the little ale barrel.
You're right. I think you're right. Yeah, so never mind. Barrels came out in castles.
Barrels, no.
Get out of here.
And cannons, yes.
Yes. And non-interpretive firearms.
Right? Hey, those muskets are pretty cool. I mean, those were great.
Yeah. Very first edition, old brown Lego muskets. I love those guys. To jump over from Pirates, because we are doing the 2 years of pirate-themed Lego, which includes the Imperial Soldiers. I noticed some definition or some distinction between Imperial Soldiers and Imperial Guard, and that those two names actually kind of came in junction with the color of the uniforms. I always considered all of it Imperial Guards, but I did notice on some of the websites I was looking at and some of the places they did distinguish that the Imperial Guard was Redcoats and the Imperial Soldiers were Bluecoats. So that's interesting.
And in certain catalogs and stories, they're called the Soldiers.
The Soldiers, yes.
But in others, they're characterized as settlers.
Yeah, colonists, settlers and colonists, or maybe
so
both.
In that script that I sent you,
yeah,
that is on the flip side of the Black Seas Barracuda box, the original box.
I think that's on the flip side of this guy too. I think it might be the same story.
It probably is.
Of this.
Flip it open. Let's see.
Yeah,
it is.
So in that scroll, it talks about the settlers.
They're being settlers. So I played the Bluecoats were the American settlers dealing with the pirates in the eastern seaboard of the country.
Yep.
During the colonization of, like the first 13, right? The Betsy Ross. Right. Where they were dealing with the constant pirates down in the Caribbean.
Yep.
And then the Redcoats, as they came in, those were the British. Those were the ones that were doing the trading, the back and forth. Well, this is mine because I'm British and this is mine. Because that was their mentality back then. Like if you followed that history, right? So the Bluecoats have always been the American settlers, colonists, right? Fighting the pirates, and then also dealing with the, the British Redcoats. Yeah. So I never had the Americans and the British were never on the same side. They were kind of at at a crosshair as well. And then the pirates were just kind of like playing off of both of them.
Definitely. Yeah. So the story in the box lends itself and makes total sense to what you just said, especially because you, as a child, when you got those sets, read those stories and played them out in your living room.
Yes.
A lot of people in the comments and are saying what I said earlier when we had a conversation about this off camera, that I assumed they were the French soldiers and the British soldiers. Regardless, in your lore.
They're not. The French have had a fleur-de-lis on their coat since like the beginning of time.
Yeah.
Those are not fleur-de-lis on that flag.
I mean, they're close though.
They're not though. Don't even get me started about it. I've got so many things with French stuff on it.
I mean, they're very. It is. If it's a cross, it's a funny looking cross. Let's see if I can get it on there. If it's a cross, it almost looks like a bird, to be honest. It's a cross with the 2 points down. I don't know. It's interesting. Regardless, here's what I was going to say. Regardless of whether they're the colonists or the French, they would still be fighting British during that time, Napoleonic Wars and all of that time era. And you also can use them very easily as a French faction or colonist soldiers.
Sure you can, but the French never settled anywhere.
I mean, well...
And we're talking about
not
Lego
in America.
lore printed on the box, dude.
Yes. Going off the lore, that is official Lego lore, it's talking about the settlers. It's talking about Governor Broadside and his fort that he uses to defend the settlers against the pirates who are trying to take their gold.
And nowhere, anywhere in history did anybody care about the French fighting the pirates. No one ever. Okay? It was the British and the Americans.
I'm pretty sure there was an old Errol Flynn movie about French fighting pirates.
No.
No.
Nobody cares about that. We're talking about the real deal. We're talking about Blackbeard. Blackbeard was going up and down the coast of the Americas, back and forth to the Caribbean. So many of those pirates.
Yeah.
Jack Rackham.
That scene.
Jack Rackham was another one.
Right. But I mean, yeah. But I guess what I'm saying is like, yes, you're right. But the French were still part of those wars, and they had ships and still fought pirates.
I mean, let's be honest. The French kind of ducked out of a lot of fights. I don't think you're accurate there. And they've been ducking out of fights for decades, dude.
Yeah, we could. I mean, we could get into that.
No, we're just gonna hang over here.
I'm just gonna walk around that whole thing.
Yeah, that's the way. I mean, look it up. Look at history. History will tell you that.
Well, I mean, historically, without the French blockade, we would have lost the revolution. So, I mean, there's that.
Yeah, but
Napoleon conquered half of Europe. He was French.
Who?
So, I mean,
that little tiny man?
What?
You talking about that little tiny man, Napoleon?
Yeah. He had a complex, bro.
That guy was the size of my left leg.
Well, let's also be fair. The French resistance during World War II effed up the Nazis pretty well.
We're not talking about the Nazis, man. We're talking about pirates.
So let me talk about... Okay.
Again, the French didn't go very far, right? They walked over to the edge of their country and said, no, sir, you can't go any further. They didn't go across the whole sea to the Caribbean, dude.
Okay.
They did some stuff in Louisiana. And, they claimed a couple of things here and there, but
dude,
there was nothing of note.
Barry says you've been watching Mel Gibson's Patriot again, which is actually a great movie.
That's a good movie.
Here's the thing, though. Lafayette is in the movie, and the French blockade, they chased the British to the shore, and they couldn't leave because the French were blockading our harbors and not allowing the British to retreat. So right. Even in that movie,
because they wanted to keep Louisiana.
Well, but yeah, the French were deciding whether or not they wanted to jump in with the British and just stomp us completely. I will say that. They were definitely considering it.
Right.
Anyway, moving on from the French and the British, the Colonists Lego Set is what we're talking about here. Not the colonists, the settlers. They called them settlers. Box.
The American.
And they had in the year 1989, they had the Harbor Sentry, Sabre Island, Caribbean Clipper, and Eldorado Fortress. They only had 2 more sets with Bluecoats in them, released specifically for their faction, though they did show up in 3 other kits. The Rock Island Refuge they showed up in.
Yep.
I believe they were a prisoner in Forbidden Island, and I think there were 2 of them in the Pirate minifig pack.
Yeah.
So they were very prolific across the early Pirate set wave. And they technically only had 6 of their own sets that were just for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's some history on what they were in. And I love them. I mean, I like the Redcoats because, it's the Redcoats and the stories and the revolution, but I really like the Bluecoats a lot, almost more than the Redcoats. They're older. They have that old school vibe more than the Redcoats. I don't know. What do you, I'd like to, yeah, who's cooler in your opinion? Redcoats, Bluecoats? Who do you like more?
I think the Redcoats have better sets.
I mean, the ships in the old school series were about the same size, weren't they?
Yeah.
They were both small, but they do have the Imperial Trading Post.
Yeah.
Which kind of trumps, like, all non-pirate factions of pirate Lego.
Well, yeah, I mean, that set was kind of like take the cake when that came out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
was a full 2 base plates in size,
Yeah. Huge. I mean, yeah, because they don't really do that. They didn't do that often until, I guess they did the big long plates connected for airports and city and all that, but that's kind of different because they didn't really build that much on those plates.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so having a set that was fully built on both sides of 2 large plates was pretty unique for the time, I think.
Yeah, I think it would have been, overall Eldorado Fortress is a better set. It's more detailed. It's more compact. And if the Imperial Trading Post had 20% more on the main base plate, I think it would have been a lot better. Because if you remember correctly, there's just like a couple little small buildings on the top, and then they had like the tower that was out on the pier.
Yeah.
But Eldorado Fortress was like the whole top was covered with pieces.
Yeah. Yeah, a couple funky little connection pieces along the back here. I always found these battlements to be a little off for me. So maybe the design of what they decided to include in the trading post might have been more uniform. Maybe not built as funny, but I think you're right. Overall look and profile of the set, much more developed for the Eldorado Fortress.
Yeah.
Than the Imperial Trading Post. Yeah. But they also got a outpost, which was a sizable outpost. It was like a 2-3-story outpost, the size of it was a decent sized outpost. So you could probably mix those together and make an even bigger port with those sets. So ultimately, I think the Redcoats might have had more power, I suppose, if you want to call it that.
They always did think they had more power.
Yeah, well, and here we are. So
free country.
The settlers defended their gold.
Right.
Let's see, what do we got? We got King Ta 94. I prefer the Bluecoats. Yeah, I mean they're a fantastic theme. Barry says I'm English, so I have to say Redcoats, but the best sets was the Bluecoats. Eldorado Fort was the best for me. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it's done before. I saw someone put a classic castle spin on Eldorado Fortress, made it into a Crusaders build, and it kind of matched King's Mountain Fortress, only had a dock and a crane, which was kind of cool. There has got to be somebody who's already done this, but turned the Eldorado Fortress into a British fort. Just change out the troops and flags.
Probably. I mean, you could easily do it.
Yeah, there you go. So then you can add that to your Imperial Trading Post. You're good to go, man. You got the whole West Indies under your thumb.
That's right.
Let's see. Barry says, "Who has seen the mocks of the Eldorado Fort with the tan and reddish brown bricks? Yeah, replacing the yellow. Yeah, I've seen that. Yep.
I've seen that, and
Have
I've
you
also seen like a complete build in the white and yellow as well.
Okay, yeah.
Which was also really good.
Yeah, have you seen the like 4,000 piece Eldorado Fortress someone did?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, yeah. With the big built up base plate and all that.
Yeah. Like
yeah.
The base plate and everything.
That was awesome. Yeah. I think I've looked at the part count on that and the piece list. It's pretty hefty. But it's a cool build. It's a cool build. Let's see. So I think Pirates might be one of the first Lego themes. That's not true. Black Monarch. They had names for some of those guys, the Black Knight and such. But they times it by like 10 for Pirates with throwing names on different characters. I mean, where we were talking about the governor for the pirate or the Eldorado Fortress.
Governor Broadside.
Governor Broadside. And apparently he has family, and this is interesting. And these characters were never released in actual Lego sets. But apparently there were some books published in the 90s, 1990. There were 4 books that came on the tail end. I believe they built on the pirate comic that was released with the whole wave, which I never read the pirate comic. I'm not sure if it's even in English, if there's a release in English, because a lot of them that I've seen the images of the pirate comic book that came with the sets were in different languages. So did you ever get a hold of one or know anything about it?
No, but I had the castle one when it was in the same language and you couldn't read it.
Okay, so maybe those are European exclusives then.
They probably were.
Okay.
That was back when, like, you had to have that little club membership and like fill out the club thing on the back of the booklet and mail it in.
It was Lego Club, and then like the Mania magazine back. In the day.
but the club one was before that.
Yeah. I never got any of those. I just got the Mania.
So like in those original club books, there would be like 2 or 3 pages. I mean, let's put it this way. I mean, the whole thing was like maybe 8 pages, right? But there was like 2 or 3 pages in the center that had a comic in it. Every issue. And
okay.
It jumped around. There was pirate. There was some castle stuff.
Well, and they carried that over to the '90s one. Look at that! Look at that '90s artwork there. It's so much fun.
It is fun.
I wish I had that when we were doing the Castle series, because I got a bunch of these. Anyway, but yeah. So the books I was talking about with all the characters and stuff in them came on the heels of the comic book. I think they expanded on the lore of the pirates in those books, and I read a little bit online about them. It's really quite interesting. I believe the main character was called Will, and the Governor Broadside was in the books, as well as some of the colonists. And this kind of goes with your vibe of the colonists more than, or the settlers more than the French, because they had Aunt Prudence was one of them, as well as Camilla, the daughter of Governor Broadside. So those are names of his family members that didn't show up in sets. And then Captain Fowl was the main antagonist in these comic books. And in the comic book, it says he owns the ship Barracuda, but it was Redbeard's ship. So there's this. So I wish, because I can't expand on any of this because I know it's already been written down, but I know there's lore with Captain Fowl and probably Redbeard. I don't know if he's in the books. And it goes into the whole pirate world of Lego with these different characters they created. And there was many more. All the crew had names. I just wrote down some of the ones that I found interesting. People say that the CMF Series 8 pirate captain with the red shirt and the black hat may be a homage to Captain Fowl, because there's a sketch of him, and he has a red coat, and so he looks very similar to that minifigure. So people have hinted or thought that maybe that was supposed to be Captain Fowl.
Maybe Captain Fowl was a defective Frenchman.
Yeah, or British, because he had a red coat.
Maybe.
Yeah, but the crew of the enemy ship and all of the bad guy pirates in these books were called the Dark Shark Crew. The Dark Shark Crew, and they sailed on the Barracuda. It's kind of great. And I guess the name of the parrot was Popsy, and the name of the monkey was Spinoza.
Spinoza?
Spinoza.
What?
Yeah, dude. These are names I pulled right off of the internet about this comic book series and these books. And I guess there were maps in the back of the books that had 12 islands. I'm just going to rattle them off real quick because these are crazy names here. Okay, they had Black Reef Island, Emerald Island, Hook Nose Island, Island of Frogs, Island of Ruins, Island of Skulls, John Silver Island, Pirate Hat Island, Shark Island, Skeleton Island, and Sabantine Island, which I don't know about that one, but that's a lot of islands. And I'm curious to think that maybe like Ruined Island was the inspiration for some of the Islanders sets later on.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. Again, I've never read these books. I've never seen inside any of them. But I wanted to pull all of that random information off of the internet to throw it all over pirates because it's so interesting and it's all part of the history of Lego's pirate lore. That's why I was like,
deep,
am I qualified to talk about this now that I've looked at all these things? Like, I have no idea what any of that is.
We'll have to connect the dots.
Yeah. Well, we could dig more into that. I find it, because when we were doing, the lore and kind of connecting dots for Castle, they left a lot for interpretation. It was like Black Knight, Black Monarch's Ghost, Forestman, whatever. Like pretty basic, like we can connect some dots. Maybe the Forestmen were the wolf pack, or the wolf pack were later, split off from the Forestmen. It's kind of there for you to like just kind of laid out. But man, this was like whole kids books written with all these characters and stuff. It's quite crazy.
Yeah, I mean, some of those names that you rattled off there, like I feel like some of those may connect to later pirate set releases.
It seems that way, I'm curious too. My wife says, "Do you think the the names of the islands and the shapes of the islands are what it was filled with? Frog Island and Pirate Hat Island." Yeah, I'm sure in the images. I didn't pull any up. But I'm sure it was. Yeah, in one of the adventures they went to Frog Island and it had a ton of frogs on it. I would assume. Pirate Hat Island looks like a pirate hat. I'm guessing, which is kind of.
Right.
Some of it's not that like creative, but then some of it's like, dude, I would have loved a Lego set called Black Reef Island. How cool does that sound?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, dude, yeah. And this kind of builds on the other topic I was going to talk to you about, or just kind of something we mentioned earlier, was that the Lego pirate theme as a whole from late 80s and into the late 90s would have made one of the coolest live action TV shows or movies of all time.
Yeah.
Like, I would watch that. I think it would have been probably the best pirate movie if they had just taken all of the pirate Lego lore and made it into a live action movie.
That would have been cool.
I just think that would be so cool. Would have been better than Pirates of the Caribbean, I'll tell you that. Although I do love Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, that was good.
It was. We haven't had, I'll say like the first three or whatever. They've gotten a little less good, but those first ones, man, they don't make movies like that anymore.
Yeah, Jack Sparrow was actually kind of formulated after the pirate Jack Rackham. Okay,
yeah. Did you end up ever watching that Stars TV show, Black Sails?
Yeah, Jack Rackham's in that show.
It's a rough show to watch, but man, is it good. And if you like pirates, that's the show to watch. It's like The Expanse for sci-fi nerds, for pirate nerds.
Dude, the intro to that made me want to like load the musket and sharpen the saber.
Yeah, no, it engages on all the levels.
Like I'm ready to cut throats and cut off legs.
Yep. Yeah.
When I hear that music and see that theme,
It's intense, man.
Yeah, it's intense.
It's one of the most intense pirate shows or pirate material of any kind. Is it? Oh, and then, yeah, my wife says Black Flag. Best Assassin's Creed game I've ever played. Black Flag I got deep into. That was a fun video game. All about the pirate. And it has all those characters from Black Sails in it. All those characters, they threw them all into that game, too, which was really fun. You get to fight pirates and blow stuff up. It's a good game as well if you're into the pirate stuff. But yeah, man. Let's see.
Go ahead.
What was that?
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, one last name of one of the characters. Again, Lego went heavy on the names. They went heavy on some of the face prints, new beards, patches, different things like that in this pirate world they created. The second in command for the Blue Coats was Lieutenant D Martinet, I believe. I could be saying these names wrong. I'm not French.
You're not French, dude.
I don't know, man. Now that I'm looking at this name, Lieutenant D Martinet, Marie Antoinette out here. I don't know. Anyway, he was featured in. He was the guy in the Harbor Sentry, rowing that giant cannon around in his rowboat.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the red-bearded guy. He was basically Redbeard's counterpart, I suppose, because he had a red beard. Maybe, I don't know.
It was kind of like a light brown.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Did they use his head in one of the Black Knights, or was that completely different?
No, they did.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Hey, maybe
Dungeon Master's Castle.
Maybe Harbor Sentry. That guy was actually Redbeard, and he defected from the settlers and betrayed them all.
Maybe he did.
Lost his eye in the fight. Came back with the Barracuda to get his gold, which he claims was his in the first place. Made our own lore, man.
Right? We can do whatever we want.
What's interesting about the second command guy, he comes in Saber Island, but he doesn't come in the ship. He doesn't come in the Caribbean Clipper.
No, he doesn't. But he comes in Saber Island, Harbor Sentry, and the Pirate Minifigs.
Does he? In the minifigs?
Yep.
I think he comes... Yeah, he's in the fort, too. So he's in, all of them except that one.
Except for the Clipper.
Yeah. Oh, and then, Broadside is a rare-ish minifig because he only comes in the fort and the Clipper. He doesn't show ever again.
Yeah, two.
Maybe... Did they do a keychain? I can't remember if they did.
I don't know, but I mean, who really wants a keychain with a chain attached to the head?
Dude, I have a YouTube video of how to hack those keychains to make figures out of them. I just cut them off with pliers and pop the heads out. Yeah. I literally made a YouTube video about how to do it because I was like, dude, I got them for super cheap from Lego discount, and then I just made them soldiers.
I did that. I did that with the gold guy. It was a gold minifig.
Yeah.
Yeah, I cut the chain off and put the gold crown on it, and that's the Brick Monarch statue. It's on my Instagram.
Nice. That's so cool. Yeah, it's actually really... So I did it with snow troopers when they were really hard to get a hold of. I got a handful of them as keychains on sale, and then I did it with orcs for Lord of the Rings. I got 5 or 6 more orcs to add to my Lord of the Rings. Because they were on sale for $2 each. And so I just popped all the clips off of them, and now I had more orcs. They do have a little tiny hole in the top, but I don't care. Just change the helmet out or something. Anyway, that's a little off topic, but I mean, I that's about it for the first 2 years of Lego Pirate. I've covered pretty much everything I was interested in talking about.
Yeah, so there's one other thing that I wanted to just jump into with you real quick on this. Obviously, the Black Sea's Barracuda is the ship that is wrecked on Barracuda Bay. Oh, yes. Yeah.
And, forward.
I mean, obviously it's a slightly different build, but I mean, we all knew when Barracuda Bay came out, we knew exactly what it was.
Yeah, no, I mean, they did such a good job. It was, and it's in the title. I mean, the Pirates of, I think the official title is Pirates of Barracuda Bay. They made a bay based on their old ship name. I mean, it's the figures reflect very similar the figures from the ship. They added a couple of women, because they didn't
Yeah.
have women in Lego sets back then.
Yeah.
But
No,
they added a few women, but that was
there was I think it was Brothers Brick or something like that. They did a side by side comparison of all the minifigs from the Black Seas Barracuda to Barracuda Bay, where they were just like basically updated, and like this guy is actually this guy on the Barracuda ship.
I threw a comparison together on Facebook like a year ago. It might have been something you saw. Is that what you were talking about?
Maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I put them next to each other on Facebook.
Yeah, I mean, like some of them are shirtless and have new tattoos, and some of them aren't. You know, and then with the brothers that are wearing the stripes
with the mustaches.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're totally the similar characters. I love how they aged Redbeard. He's got the white with the gray in his beard.
Yeah.
You know, just like he's been chilling out there for a while. Hasn't been able to fix his ship. No, a fantastic homage to classic pirate. I blew my mind. I mean, they even put the Legoland banner, didn't they, on the box?
I think they did. I don't have the box
like
here.
This one.
I don't have the box here, but I think so.
I've got it upstairs. But yeah, I think they even did the box art very similar to a classic Lego set. You know, they threw in the Islanders statue buried in the sand. I mean, it goes...
That right there, that little piece alone, that little nugget, like, just literally took everybody that owned the Enchanted Island or the Black Seas Barracuda or it played with any of those things on their living room floor. That little tiny piece gave everybody, like, a moment of...
Yeah.
I mean,
it was as soon as I saw those leaked images of that side of the island with that buried head, I'm like, they did it. They actually did it. And it blew my mind because I hadn't seen Lego really even acknowledge their old stuff. They like to push their new stuff, and they really like to keep most of their older stuff kind of out of the public eye and move away from that stuff. And they embraced it hard in the Pirates of Barracuda Bay set. Brought it back. It's all there.
I mean, they had it buried in the sand. Like, you know, they took over all the islanders, and they were just like, "This is my island."
Yeah.
You know, and the craziest thing is that little head buried in the sand uses the exact same pieces that they did in the set of the Enchanted Island.
Yeah, all the old
the statue.
Yep. I think the only thing they might have changed was they put horns instead of the they changed the horn style, I think, because they don't produce that old horn piece anymore.
I mean, it could have been one, but I'm talking about like the gray pieces.
Yeah, all the gray pieces are exactly the same. It's the same. I'm almost sure you could look at the instructions for Enchanted Island and build the same head.
Yeah, like literally just pluck it out and put it over here on the statue and be fine.
Yeah, except for it's old gray, so you'd have to fix that, Andrew.
Well, I mean, there's no fixing that. There's no old gray here.
You've purged it all.
I have purged it all.
No. Did you purge all the old gray peasant torsos? Because, I mean, I'll take those.
No, those are my birchwood forestmen.
I know. Dude, woodsmen, man. They're woodsmen. We call them woodsmen over here.
You got it.
So, the gray woodsman. Yeah. Let's see. I always wonder why soldiers in the Caribbean Clipper were different soldiers. Different from in the other sets. Yeah, you're right, because I just realized that, and I think I noticed that before. All of the soldiers in the Caribbean Clipper have tricorner hats, or tricorn hats, or whatever you call them. And all the other soldiers, and almost all of them except the commander, have the tall Imperial hats. So I would say they were probably trying to make it look like those were sailors as opposed to soldiers. And so they had the tricorner hats, they all matched together on the ship.
I would have to say that's pretty accurate. I would agree with that.
Yeah, I think I threw a bunch of the pirate. You know the pirate with the black patch and the stubble, and then the blue vest. It looks kind of like a sailor's vest.
Yeah.
I threw a ton of him. I changed his head out and changed it out a little bit, but I put a bunch of him manning one of the Imperial ships because I'm like, they look like sailors. So I threw a bunch of his guys in there. I had a bunch of them. So yeah, they work well for just sailors, just bodies on the ship.
Yeah.
Barry Lee Cullis says, we need an Imperial Ideas counterpart to Barracuda Bay. The 2 round of ideas has nice sets to be reviewed. Yeah. I think we've had a couple run stuff, but they're not quite. It's hard to get that magic in the Imperial side The pirate one, I get. I mean, you had every Lego fan of all time Barracuda, the Black Seas Barracuda. You throw that set, you throw that name on a box, it'll sell itself. Like there's no.
Yeah, all you had to do was use the name Barracuda in it and put the red and white sails on it, and it was done.
It was over. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it was done. I mean, it was a legend set too.
Yes. Yeah. Came out as a legend set. Well, you're right. Imperial Island Fort by Brickhammer. Yeah. I mean, I think we were talking. That might be the one we were talking about earlier. The big. And I would totally be down. I mean, people like us would buy a fort easily, but the Lego community as a whole might not be as interested in a fort. I don't know. I could be wrong. I think it would probably sell out like everything else, honestly.
Probably.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, did you want to talk about ClassicCastle.com?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the new news is I'm going to be doing a big prize giveaway for the Colossal Castle contest.
Nice.
With ClassicCastle.com. I do plan on entering, but I mean, I'm going to give a prize pack for maybe each of the categories, and I'm going to produce wall plaques for all the winners.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
a
real contribution.
Yeah, I mean, and those are going to be printed with the winners' names on them in their place, and routed metal with standoffs.
Sweet.
Yeah, so that they're going to start judging like January 5th, I think. So right now is like the time to build. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so check them out, ClassicCastle.com, and I think they just started an Instagram, and they're gathering followers right now. So
yeah, they did. I was like, what is going on? I would have thought that they would have done that a long time ago.
Where you guys been all this time?
On Facebook or something.
Yeah, well, they're on the forums. Some of the older. I mean, there's Eurobricks, right? They're all over that. They've got their own website. They're older, and at least the website is older. People have jumped on that forever. I remember them being around for a long time. So they've just kind of established their own community. They're never, but I'm surprised they hadn't done.
It's funny too that you say that, because just earlier we were talking about like books with pictures were much more attractive. Yeah. They're still much more attractive to me to this day. So those forums, like I get on those and I'm like, it gives me anxiety. So like, I'm just like, oh God, there's like pages and pages of stuff I have to read. No thanks.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, no, I've been on them and I can't navigate them very well. It's a little bit like Reddit for me. I was never a Reddit guy, and so I don't know how to navigate it very well. And so I'm like, just jump back to Instagram. I know my people there, and that's
yeah.
But I do I've been featured on some of the Classic Pirates pages on Eurobricks and stuff. They've contacted me and put my stuff on there, and they've done a really, really nice job putting a little article together of my builds. And like, I really appreciate that. So it's really cool to see that they're still doing all of that stuff. Yeah, but it can be a little bit, like you said. Yeah, I like the pictures. Give me the pictures. Kids' books as opposed to the word books. No.
Right.
A lot of reading and stuff that can be a little tricky sometimes to get invested in. I think it feels like it's more of an investment, where Instagram you can just jump on and flip through some stuff, like some things, comment, roll out.
Yeah.
I vibe with that. I get it. If Pirates wins the next 90th anniversary, what do you think they'll do? I mean,
I don't know, man.
Here's the thing. Here's what I'll say. And this is my view of it, I suppose. Lego has done their votes. Castle's in there, Bionicle's in there for no reason, Pirates in there, and City's in there, or Train, I think. What was it? Or no, Space, Classic Space.
Yeah.
Space, City, Pirate, Castle, Bionicle, I believe were the 5 winners, because they added Castle after everyone raged about it. I don't think that even though Pirate won, Lego has decided that out of those 5, they get to choose what they're going to make. And so I don't think they're going to do a Pirate one, even if it's in the top winning category, because they already did Pirates of Barracuda Bay. I don't think they're going to do it. I think they would either go Castle or Space. I don't see Bionicle making it.
I hope not.
I just don't. I saw a theory that they're going to do like a big combo build with all 4 of the winners. I wouldn't really care much for that. I mean, it would be good parts for a lot of different stuff, but as a set, I think it would kind of not be that great. I'd rather see all of their energy into one specific theme.
Yeah. No, the Bionicle was just awful from the get-go. Those parts are completely useless, most of them. Like 90% of the parts are completely useless.
They're very specific to what they were intended to do.
Like, if they didn't have a knee joint and a foot and an arm, it was useless.
That's true. I agree. I mean, they never were my cup of tea. I have the original 6 as like a little thing because I have them. And so I'm happy that I have the original 6 from, 2000 or 1999, whenever they came out.
You would.
Yeah, of course I do. But dude, you know me. I've got all the weird stuff. Bionicle has an insane fan base. They're nuts. And that's why they got it into the finals. But I don't see Lego using Bionicle as a set that encompasses 90 years of Lego because it was not there. There's no building brick in it.
You know what? I bet you take your Bionicle guys and go over and play in Fabuland.
Dude, Fabuland. I don't have any Fabuland, but my Bionicle guys would definitely be in Fabuland if I did. 100%. Oh man, Fabuland, good times. I bet you. I don't know if. I wonder how many people know what Fabuland is even on here.
They're some of the ugliest Lego sets ever made.
Whoa.
They are, and
They gave us some cool parts though. They gave us the pitchfork and the net and that weird broom thing, and that's a tiny teacup.
It is.
Let's see.
I have all these scrap pieces like laying.
Is that Fabuland? The teacup's not from Fabuland.
No.
Oh,
no.
Yeah.
I've got the extras from like 8 sets.
Oh, yeah.
Right here on my table. So I got some teacups and
You're
some
doing
flowers.
a bit. I see what's going on. You're ignoring me by drinking your mini tea. Well, I'm trying to talk about Fabuland parts. Jeez, man.
Yeah, like, I mean...
No. Comment if you comment below when we post this on Instagram. Comment if you know what Fabuland is or if you enjoy Fabuland. That's what we're doing now.
Complete garbage.
Complete garbage. I got. All right, we're gonna wrap it up. I think we've covered the first 2 years of Pirate. It was a lot of history. I mean, we're kind of digging up a lot of things that we found out about Pirates. And
yeah, there's a lot there.
I'm looking forward to maybe in the next couple episodes of Pirates to maybe get more into what we like about it and some of the more fun things that we find about the different sets and stuff. Because I like analyzing the sets more than just talking about when they came out. So
yeah. But, so Brick Monarch shop, we are getting ready to we're preparing ourselves for Black Friday.
Nice.
So details on that will come in the next week.
Awesome.
Also, I'm planning a few giveaways.
Sweet.
One of which is a Blacktron sign that was the first Blacktron sign that I made that I am no longer even selling. So
oh, nice.
It's in the actual hexagon shape of the logo.
Okay. So limited edition, basically. Is what
there's one. There's not a limited edition. There's one.
There's one.
I'm giving it away.
Okay. Exclusive.
Yeah, there's only one. So whoever gets that one is going to be the only one that has it.
That's awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
So keep a lookout for Brick Monarch's shop sales and giveaways.
Yep.
And
Got a couple planning.
And then check out ClassicCastle.com and their Instagram. Sign up and for the Colossal Castle contest.
Yeah, you should sign up.
I should. If I have time, I will. Man, it's going to be crazy. Their categories are nuts. Go take a look at all the stuff they're doing.
They are nuts.
Yeah, it's like unreal. Like, yeah, it is literally a colossal castle contest, in every sense of the word. So,
and some of the past entries make you look like you've never built before in your life.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they have some of the best people getting on that. I mean, they're rooted. They're rooted in their community, so they've got all of those cool guys coming in to participate. So the competition will be hot.
Yeah, it will be. It'll be tough to win with the timeline.
Yeah, but you win, you get a plaque handmade by Andrew's shop. You get the prizes were Harry Potter sets. The Castle Creator set was in there as the prize pool.
Yep.
They're throwing in.
Blacksmith shop is a prize.
They're throwing all of them in there.
I'm putting a medieval, like a castle package together.
Cool.
Where you're gonna get like a couple of signs and a couple of decals from
Nice.
the castle theme. You know,
Awesome.
like the wine and the wine and fruit is gonna be one of them.
Oh yeah, guarded in sign.
The guarded in, yeah. Yeah, I mean,
That's gonna be cool. So
so I'll be posting that. I'll be posting that up probably in the next day or so that everybody that's entering the CCC contest will know what they're getting from Brick Monarch Shop.
Sweet. So we'll keep our eyes open for that coming down the line. All the links to the shops and my shop online, all of that, of course, is on our profiles. You guys can go browse. Andrew's got a ton of cool stuff. I've got PDFs for sale. That's right now. That's all I'm really saying or selling. Yeah, thank you guys so much for sticking around for the live. Thank you, Barry, for sticking it out. He's here till the end. He says, another great live stream, lads. Look forward to next stream. Appreciate it, man. And Jordan just popped on. Sorry, bro. We are calling it. We can't handle your snarky comments about pirates right now.
Right. Hey, so real quick, next week.
Yeah, we were talking about Thanksgiving kind of live for, do we want to do Rock Raiders? Jump off of Pirates, and then Pirates episode 2 will be after Thanksgiving.
Or maybe Castle.
Or we could jump back into Castle. There's also all the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit. But next week,
Yep.
we're gonna take a look at Rock Raiders, and then
let's let's jump into the Rock Raiders.
Yeah, let's do it. Jordan says, "Got here just for the end." Haha. Yeah, sorry, man. Yelling Castle. That's why we appreciate you, man. You got to jump in sooner. We love your comments. So you bring a lot of life to the party.
Yeah, he does. All the hate speech.
all the hate on all the random stuff. I mean, that's good too, though. We need to be put in our place sometimes. We get a little crazy here. So I'll watch the replay and leave snarky comments.
Yeah, we'll look forward to that.
We talked about Fabuland, Jordan. I want to hear you flame that.
He's probably got all of them. He's probably got all of them.
Oh, I doubt it. I highly doubt it. He won't go for that. All right. Thank you so much for joining in, guys, and have a good night. And thank you so much for talking, Andrew. It was a good time.
Yes, sir.
All right.
I will talk to you guys later.
He says Fabuland is jam.
I figured it would be.
We're calling it. Have a good night.
Yeah.